The next couple of chapters are going to be really exciting, albeit a little unconventional as well. We're going to look a little bit more closely at the relationship between Photoshop and After Effects. Just a little bit of Photoshop knowledge goes a long way in After Effects. Here's an example I made up a few years ago. It was actually a challenge to myself to see if I could make something super terrible and horrible in Photoshop and make it look kind of cool in After Effects. So I got rectangular marquee selections and I filled them with white in Photoshop. I got the smudge tool, which nobody ever uses. I just kind of like smudged these edges. And I was like, okay, that looks pretty cheesy. What could I do with it in After Effects? So I brought it into After Effects, added a glow, duplicated it, put it in 3D space. And now if you move around here in 3D space, it's like this is some kind of like cool Transformers Energon cube or something. Again, couldn't have been done without Photoshop, but a little bit of Photoshop knowledge went a long way to making this cool trick in After Effects. Now, I've made up this little chart here that talks about Photoshop features that After Effects supports. For example, layers in Photoshop. If you bring over the PSD file, the Photoshop document, After Effects will recognize the Photoshop layers. It will recognize the visibility of the layers, opacity, blend modes, alpha channels, layer mask, adjustment layers, all this stuff. And I actually add to this list vanishing point, and if you have Photoshop CS4 extended, 3D layers, which we'll cover later in this chapter. And there's a strong relationship between Photoshop and After Effects for a reason, because stuff that you do in Photoshop can really enhance the work you do in After Effects. Now, this is not going to be comprehensive Photoshop training or even Photoshop training at all. For that, you want to check out the online training library on lynda.com. So check them out if you want to actually get deeper into Photoshop. We're going to focus on the relationship between Photoshop and After Effects here in these next couple of chapters. Now, a lot of people ask a lot of questions. How can I bring a photo to life is a question that I get often. Well, the answer to this question, as well as so many other questions in After Effects, doesn't lie in After Effects. It actually lies in Photoshop. So in the next chapter, we're going to take this photo and from start to finish in Photoshop and After Effects, we're going to bring this to life and create some animation. So we have some lights flickering up here in the top if I scrub this. And obviously this guy here hits the pool cue and the ball moves. The table appears to be rotating three-dimensionally. The girl appears to be rotating three-dimensionally as if we had a video of her. And everything seems to be ordered in 3D space, even though this is all just a photo. So all this kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about in the next two chapters, a lot of exciting stuff, so let's get started.